Okay, guys, we're going to talk about one more irregular verb for the school year. This one is Fio, and it's a little different because, and some of you tried to tell me last week that it was deponent, and it technically isn't, okay? Because if you look at the first principal part here, those deponent verbs in the first principal part are going to end in R, and this one ends in O. Okay, so this one isn't technically deponent. Some books, I don't think your book is one of them, classifies verbs similar to this as semi-deponents. Okay, because it has some characteristics of verbs that are non-deponent, and then has some characteristics of deponent verbs. Okay, so let's talk about Fio. Fio is the first principal part, and then you will have fieri, factus sum for that third principal part. Okay, again, no fourth principal part. Now, this one has several different definitions. So one could be to be made. One could be to become. Okay, and then the last one, if you looked at the glossary or the chapter 9 vocab list, it's talking about impersonally, to happen. Okay, so real quick, let's talk about what it means impersonally. Impersonally means that the subject is it, okay? And that's impersonal. It can't be anything really but third singular, okay? So sometimes, if you have a third singular form of Fio, to happen, to use it happens or it happened or it will happen would be completely appropriate, okay? But not all the time, all right? So let's get into a little more information about Fio, okay? Your book actually just calls this, that's not what I wanted. Your book just calls this irregular. Okay, so your book doesn't classify this as semi-deponent. It just calls it irregular. Okay, so we'll go with that. It's no big deal. In the present system, don't know why it keeps making that circle. In the present system, okay, and again, the present system is present, imperfect, and future tenses. The verb form, or well, let's just say this: there are no passive verb forms. Okay. No passive verb forms. Kind of nice. So let's talk about that. All right. So let's go into present indicative and then the subjunctive as well. So we're going to have Fio. Okay. And so again, let's use become. Okay. So this would be I become. Your second singular is fis. Okay, and we're going to have a macron there. So this is you become. Third singular is fit. And this would be he, she, or it becomes. Okay. And again, third singular could be it happens. Okay. Going over to plural for indicative, we have fimus, we become. For second plural, you would have fitis, y'all become. And then for third plural, you will have fiunt. So this will be they become. Okay, we could have also said for first singular and so on, I am made, you are made, so on and so forth. Okay, going over to our subjunctive. Okay, our stem for the subjunctive is all going to be this fi with a macron. Okay, so I'm going to do that. And just like with our other kind of irregular verbs, they follow, in certain instances, more of a third IO conjugation pattern, just not usually in that present. So that's what we're going to do here. So we will have fiam, fias, with 2 macrons, fiat, fiamus, also with 2 macrons, fiatus with 2 macrons, and third plural would be fiant. Okay? All right, so we're moving on to imperfect. And let's go back to our main color. So again, with third IO third and third IO conjugation in the imperfect, we have our stem, we add an E, and then we add our ending. Okay, so we're going to have phi again as our stem. Okay, so I'll do this again just like I did over on the other side. Okay, so we'll have phi. All right, then we're going to add an E. Okay, and the E's will all have macrons. Okay, and then we'll add our other ending. Okay, so we'll have phi bomb, and so maybe I will say I was becoming. Second singular is going to be phi bos, and so this would be you were becoming. Third singular is phi bot, and this would be he, she, or it was becoming. For first plural, we would have phi bamus. We were becoming. Phi batis. Y'all were becoming. And then phi bant. They were becoming. All right. So over on the subjunctive side for this, okay, we're going to take our second principal part here. And I'm not writing that right. So we're going to take our second principal part here, which is fieri. Okay. And we're going to do like what we did with those deponent verbs. Okay, we're going to take our second principal part, we're going to drop the I, and we're going to add an E. Okay, so our stem for these forms is going to look like a normal, everyday infinitive. Okay, so again, here's my stem. Okay, and so then we're just going to add those endings of MST, mustis, und. Okay, so fieren, fieres. We're going to put a macron there. Fieret. Okay, over on the plural side, fieremus. Okay, but we need a macron over that last E. For second plural, fieretis. We need a macron there over the last E. And then third plural is, whoops, got a little too big there, fierent. Okay. All right. So there is going to be a future, but again, only for the indicative. So that's nice for us. So we're going to have fiam. I will become. Fies. You will become. Fiet. He, she, or it will become. Fiemus. We will become. Fietis. Y'all will become. And fient. They will become. Okay. All right. So this is where it gets a little tricky, and it starts looking like a true passive verb. Okay. But remember, I said this could be, depending on the textbook used, it could be deponent, or excuse me, semi-deponent, or it could be irregular. Either way, if you look back at all these forms that we just went through, they all look active. Okay. But now we need that third principal part. And our third principal part is factus sum. Okay. So before we get into the forms, let's talk about this right here. So some of you hopefully have realized that, hey, factus. I know we've seen factus with facio. Okay, and we have seen factus with facio. Okay, so that means that fio and facio are actually related. Okay, so I'm going to go back up to the beginning. So this translation here of to be made, that's probably for more of this perfect passive system, for the perfect and the pluperfect and the future perfect. Okay. So let's get started with our perfects. Okay. So again, some of the things that I still see you guys struggling with is, remember that in these verb forms that are 2 words long, both have to be singular, or both parts have to be plural. Okay. So we will go with factus sum, and let's say I have been made. We could have also said I have become. For that third singular, in that impersonal, we could say it happened. Okay, I'm just going to stick with the have been made, all right? And I just realized I need another S right there. Factus, here we can make this better. Okay, factus sum. Okay, so these are all masculine, so I'm going to put factus S. You have been made. For third singular, factus est, and this would be he has been made. All right, so now I'm going to change my us to an I with a macron. Okay, so we have facti sumus, We have been made. Facti estis. Y'all have been made. And facti sunt. They have been made. And because I know some of you will complain, make sure that's a V right there and have. Okay? So on the subjunctive side, these forms of factus are going to remain the same over here. Okay? It's that form of sum that changes. All right? So we will still have factus, but now because it's subjunctive, we have sim. Second singular will be factus sis. Third singular will be factus sit. First plural will be factissimus. Second plural is factisitis. And third plural is factisint. Okay. All right. Moving on to our pluperfects. Okay. This time I'm going to go with feminine. So on factus, we're going to drop the us and have an a ending for the singular and I for plural. Okay. So we'll have facta eram. So this is I had been made. We'll have facta eras. You had been made. Facta erat. He, she, or it had been made. So now we're going to the AE ending, again pronounced I. So we have facti eramus, and we had been made. Second plural is facti eratis. Y'all had been made. And then third plural, facti erant. They had been made. Okay. All right, I'm going to use those same forms of facta and facti over on subjunctive. But again, it's our form of sum that changes. Okay. So we'll have facta SM, facta SS, facta esset, facti essemus, facti essetis, and facti essent. Okay. All right, one more. That's it. That's good because my hand hurts. I don't know about yours. All right. And remember, future perfect only exists in the indicative. So yay us. So this time I'm going to use the neuter. So these would be and a. Okay. For the singular, a for the plural. Okay. So we'll have factum ero. I will have been made. Factum eris. You will have been made. Factum erit. And I'm sorry, I just realized I made a slight mistake in the pluperfect. Okay, not even thinking about it, that we had made it plural. Facta erat should be she had been made. So hopefully you guys can go back and change that. Okay, so continuing on with future perfect, third singular, it will have been made. Okay, now again, we're changing factum to facta, and then we're going to add our second word as erimus. We will have been made. Facta eritis. Y'all will have been made. And then facta erint. They will have been made. Okay. All right. So these are this is the last irregular verb of the school year. Insert your shout of joy now. Although maybe not too loud because maybe other people are sleeping. Okay. All right. I miss you guys. I hope you're doing well, and I will see you around.